Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Office Showdown Week 3 coming to you live. I am Sandbag. Joining me, colorcaster as always, Mr. Zathos. You got full of energy after the extra shenanigans you got going on to this one?
Yeah, so I went on a bike ride. I got lost for 2.5 hours. I didn't know if I was in England or Ireland anymore. Enough shenanigans ahead. But today we got Logitech versus Alumni, a very interesting proposition for us with both of these teams. I will have to say, I'm thinking Alumni might be a little bit stronger here, but it'd be fun to see your opinion.
I would agree. I would tend to agree that the teams that have they've practiced, they have the chemistry. You've been able to see them throughout their rise in the college series, flipping along into this office showdown, are definitely going to have a little bit more of that stage experience. That said, this is week 3. We have been able to play a handful of games, and as we flip on over into Champion Select, I'm looking forward to seeing if anybody's got anything cooked up with the week of prep they had.
And I'm a little scared about cooking because me and Sandbag got to do a grand finals with one of those Discord leagues, and we saw some Oriana AD carries with Melio, Malzahar in the mid lane. A lot of stuff that I don't expect to be that popular did come out, and with Office Showdown, a lot of these players have their pocket picks, the champions they really love. So that Skarner is going to get locked in. Very good at being that frontline engage, but most importantly, very good at doing these front to back team fights with a hyper carry, most likely getting picked up by Alumni in this second rotation.
Yep, tough to punish unless you are going for this full burn type of comp. He's going to be reasonable, full utility, low range, or low utility. The Amumu and
Uh,
the Syndra,
can I
my
lock in
beloved
who's winning?
mummy.
Logitech G, Panny, this mid laner is fantastic on this Syndra. His most popular champion, Weeb, somebody who has picked up the Amumu, but most importantly, their jungler only plays Amumu. So the chance of that getting through was very small, but it does work out. We talked about the front to back team fighting comp. That's exactly that of that Aurelion Soul. And then I guess we have a Shaco support.
So you were talking about cooking, sir. How do we
I
feel
think I earned it.
about the Blue 3 Shaco?
So there's two ways this can work. Shaco absolutely love a mobile carries that he can try and burst. You have that with the Syndra, of course. The only problem is you have a Shen ultimate to stop the damage you're dealing, and an Amumu that doesn't have to see you, just has to be somewhere in the same sphere as you, and you are going to get locked down. So far, I am a little bit in favor of this Logitech G draft, but coming in towards the second ban phase, this can all change around, as I don't remember the last time that we left AD carry and support till this second rotation.
Yeah, it was something that seemed to be finding a little bit of footing in pro play where people are taking the top side and saying, plug and play marksman, whatever, you can figure some comps out. That being said, stuff like Shaco being a high enough priority that they were fearing a second ban rotation does crack me up immensely as we have the rest of these bans flipping through. Darius, Caitlyn going to be completing those 5 bans alongside Gwen, Jinx, and Nefiri. On the other side, Mel, Aatrox, Ari, Ashe. Looking for one more to finish those out. Maybe a bot lane pinch, I seems reasonable.
Yeah, just get rid of as many AD carries as possible, especially because of Syndra is going to be your main carry, stealing away the Ashe and that Jhin, which has a lot of utility. Now it's really down to the Amumu to be that engage. Fortunately, as double banish toss in the ultimate, he has plenty of engage. There's no real concern with that, as they are going to be looking in the Pantheon, can get swapped around. Pantheon, of course, a top laner and a support, and same with that Shen, had a lot of popularity there. But I'm expecting AD carry here. What do you really want to pair up with a Skarner? Probably a hyper carry. Jinx very high in priority. Not the best into the enemy team. And oh, I love this. Nyla's fantastic in towards the enemy team. I wasn't expecting this.
The aspect of joy going to be locked in, and sure, there is point and click CCs running around. She's going to have to try and find her way through the thicket of spells flying her way. This Vayne's surely not going to be locked in, right?
I
Right?
mean, it could do.
Right?
Vayne did
Oh,
go
we
and get
got
locked in.
it! Vayne Mila, blue 4-5. This is going to be a good one.
I need to take a second to really break this down. As on one side, Logitech G, we have a very realistic, simple composition of you have the 2 hyper carries with the AD carry in mid lane, great engage in the jungle, and then some protection from the support and top lane. But on this opposite side, we have Shen versus Vayne in the top lane. The way this matchup usually works is if Vayne can topple out of the Shen E, is pretty playable for her. But if she ever gets caught out, Shen's base damage is absolutely ludicrous in this early game, and there is possibilities of trying to kill them. And I think I have to favor Logitech G because this Nyla sure has really good engaged potential, has ways of dealing a lot of damage in these team fights. I'm just a little concerned because you have to go in when Syndra can smack you away. You have an Amumu that can always lock down CC you, same with the Pantheon, and even with that Shen on top.
I also must admit my biases. I have pretty much done nothing but play Amumu every single game that is not chain banned. And this game for Amumu is majestic. You beat up on Skarner 1v1 when you have that W ticking, you have the Landry's, and every other one of those people is a ranged champ. Shaco's got to come to you. Vayne's got to come to you. Neela really has to come to you. You have the ability to find these big group ups. And Sivir can just auto from about a screen and a half away on Skarner's head and bounce it to everybody else. So like you said, in terms of stable, reliable, structured, Logitech G, great. Alumni Guild, they're playing the montage music already. Each of these champions can take control, but this is high risk, high reward. We're flipping this.
Yeah, 100%. I could see in my head the way that this is meant to work. You have the Vayne versus the Shen. Sure, it's bad early, like I mentioned before, but there is going to be, after that first item, or especially two items comes through, nobody can actually match this Vayne on the side lane unless you have a gank from that Amumu, or maybe have that lockdown CC of the Pantheon. But if she takes cleanse, nobody's messing with that. The Shaco in the jungle, incredibly strong at trying to bully out this mid lane mage. Paddy, yes, he's fantastic on his champion, but when you don't know where the enemy jungler is and he can just completely burst you, it becomes a lot more difficult. So if Alumni do want to win this game, I want it to get completely messy. First item comes through, start seeing what you can do with this Shaco, try and look for these hard engages, as I do believe with Dr. House going to be that Skarner in the jungle, most likely going to have that Shaco towards bot lane, and the ASO in the mid lane, which is more of an even matchup compared to the Shaco if it was placed mid, would kind of dominate the Syndra as you can jump over her Scatter the Weak.
Yeah, I fear a lot riding on Plato Dig here, as Shaco, when we're talking about high risk, high reward, Alumni Guild's comp as a whole falls into that bucket, but Shaco from ahead and Shaco from behind. Shaco from ahead is actually just Pennywise. You never know where, you never know when. He's just popping out. He's the worst thing you've ever seen. Shaco from behind is like he's like just an actual clown. Like not a scary demon clown. He's just a clown. Plato Dig's got a lot resting on his shoulders.
And honestly, you never know why either. Shaco just does what Shaco pleases in these games. And the fortunate thing is the skill level from this is all the way from iron all the way up to probably diamond. And with that big of a skill range, it does put the possibility where you can find these easy pickoffs where somebody slightly oversteps, somebody isn't really thinking. And that's what Shaco is absolutely fantastic at. If somebody slightly oversteps on these side lanes, let's say the Sivir, let's say Panny in that mid lane, you're going to be in a really awkward spot.
You are, and I'm curious to see for you if you're trying to untangle some of the madness that's coming out of this blue team from the Alumni Guild. Where are they looking to play through? Because normally it's Vayne top, everyone play for your Vayne. You know, you get your wards up there, you hover them on jungle ganks, and then you say Neela, okay, make sure that Neela can get to her breakpoints. You want to play for the Neela, so stay bot. And then you're saying, well, ASOL needs a bit of cover in the early game. You really want to make sure that you're covered and you're warded in the mid lane. Let him get his stacks. And then all of a sudden, you're trying to play 3 lanes simultaneously. Where do you even look?
I think for me personally, it has to come down towards the Nyla in the bot lane, as yes, Fame will be winning out on the 1v1 already by herself. Make sure that she has a ward, she's defended, she can do her thing. Same for the ASO in the mid lane, you always will be able to safely scale as you got the E to get out to safety, and you just have so much wave clear with that Dragon's Breath that you can't be towered though. Which means that the only major place to gank is going to be the bot lane. This Nyla, if ahead, yes, can get CC by the Amumu and the Shen. If you have enough healing, if you have 2 items, you still will be able to win those team fights. So the big goal is to try and get your Skarner down there and deal as much damage as possible. Now, of course, if they don't want to do that, I don't know, just let the Shaco kill everything.
So either play for your bot lane Annihilation, or let your Shaco just kind of run amok and just cause problems all to himself.
And how toxic is this? This Shaco hasn't decided to go for a flash. Of course, he does have a dash ability and invisibility as well, but you have Exhaust and Ignite. This doesn't mean that you can stop somebody from dealing damage. You can make sure that they die with that burn on top. So I'm interested to see if this Shaco can find an early game lead, as this champion, if piloted to perfection, can really deal a lot. One thing that I saw back in the day was in the Portuguese league, they actually had a Shaco support main that would first pick that champion. I'm not
First
joking.
pick
First pick.
Shaco support is okay. There's a reason why Shaco players have the reputations that they do, where they will be just running into your jungle and fighting you to the death. Yes, Shaco support first pick is part of the reason for that reputation.
And Shaco actually seems kind of solid in towards the Pantheon, because if Pantheon tries to jump in with W, Shaco could put a fear box down, could try and Q out to safety, and there's no real way of trying to pick him off. I'm only concerned about if Panny does find a big enough lead. If Shaco ever tries to go towards that mid lane post 6, if Panny has an ultimate, you are just going to get one shot. It's the big fear that a lot of people have when you play a Pyke in the late game, where if you slightly overstep, you are just going to get taken out.
It's you're playing on that knife's edge for pretty much the duration of those fights.
As we will be having a little pause in the game, as it is going to fix itself. One thing that you'll always know is whenever there has been a quick spectator delay, it needs a couple of seconds to get itself readjusted, and fortunately that has happened. And Shaco, a champion that wants to try and invade and annoy as much as possible, seems like that's exactly what they're doing. Shaco, Skarner, and of course this ASO trying to come in, probably place a ward down, and find out where Madness Maximus is able to start.
A ward, a Jack-in-the-Box perhaps, but instead you see Plato Jig just marching his way on back down. And this Jester certainly needs to have eyes remaining on him. Like you said, Ignite, Exhaust, and Dark Harvest on a collision course with the Samu early on.
Just a one auto attack. Come in, come out. Nothing's going to happen. As we do have a little small story to tell you about Madness Maximus. Of course, we're friends with a few of the players of both of these teams, but we've heard that Madness Maximus is somebody who is really new to League of Legends. He loves his Amumu, only can really play that Amumu towards this super high level. And it's been super fun seeing everybody on the team trying to support him and help him be able to do everything on the Rift. And that's kind of what this office showdown is the people around you trying to help each other out as much as possible and get towards that level so you can win some League of Legends games.
Absolutely. It's a nice little bit of camaraderie as you're going to be trying to communicate with your team, play on that level, and have that little bit of friendly competition, but also some of the cooperation as we have ourselves a little bit of a late start. Septimus Soul assisting with the leash and actually missing a creep for it.
Knowing that Maximus needed a bit of help because he started late, so getting him on towards a nice level like that's going to get a little bit late to lane, and we can already see the issues with Shaco. If you can find yourself the level 2 advantage, you just go in and deal some damage.
Save forwards, but Septimus Soul with only a W single-handedly wins that trade out on the Pantheon.
I think it was more scary than actual damage dealing at that point. As towards the top side, Shen has finally reached that level 2, has the ability of trying to stun up this Vayne. Isn't going to land, meaning that Vayne will win out in that 1v1. And that's exactly how the trade pattern's going to go.
Oh, Diego, no, he can steal this. He can steal this. Dark Harvest Ignite down, and he does get the Wolf. Q is not going to come up off of cooldown, scatter just short, but Maximus losing the big dog on his jungle clear is going to have to move to the other side of the map.
Oh, he's trying to look for more there.
Septimus Soul is going to get a PTA, but this is a Shaco. As a play-by-play, you have to wait for that cooldown to go down because he will just bait you. The color throws it, and then Shaco just kind of disappears. But this one, poor Amumu can't even find a home in the jungle. He's going to be standing on that soul. First blood to the ace soul. The roam from mid dividends early on.
And it's an absolute horror. Panny getting pushed out in this early game, trying to move beforehand for Madness Maximum means he does no priority later on. And with that, ASO going towards that jungle and will be able to pick up first blood on towards the Amumu. And this is the part where Amumu is the weakest. At level 6 ultimate, everybody's felt it in a team fight, how impactful it is. But before that, he is a bit of a sitting duck in his own jungle. So a very good job from the Shaco and the ASOL to first of all get Madness Maximus behind. The question is, can they keep it going?
Later Dig trying to set up for Dr. House's. In comes the Skarner. Exhaust for the slow. Septimus Soul is simply going to give his up. Another kill going over to this blue team. Alumni Guild, 1 kill from Feats.
And we can see the CS difference in towards that jungle. Already 18 CS up, double the amount that this Amumu has. So this mid lane just could be a little more poking from here. And Logitech, yes, they have a team comp that's fantastic in the late. Early into the game, when you have a Sivir and a Syndra, there's not really much they can do.
No, unfortunately, the downside of the Hyper Carry is a nice little taunt's going to land on Earthshaker, but ends up getting Silver Bolted back. Is you're playing for shards and you're playing for gold. Both Panny and Weeb going to be trying to link up. Plato Dig just lurking in fog. And this is going to be Twin Shiv Poison for about 89 damage. No comment.
I'm so happy I'm not in this game. I would not want to be playing against the
Flash
Shaco.
forward. You know what? You want to be underneath the bot lane tower. Septimus Soul gets the burst damage and equalizes this one out in the bot lane. Meanwhile, Bandage Toss connecting, taunting up the Skarner. He still has a flash of his own as Dr. House will never be able to press it. Doesn't get that charge into the wall, and they will continue to push out. Earthshaker creeps dying in the meantime.
Yeah, Earthshaker still have that flash and that ghost available, will be able to get themselves out to safety. And that all comes down to Drakanzi having a really nice ward in towards his own jungle to make sure the Krugs weren't taken. It's mid lane.
Oh, knocked out of his E. Emmett's gonna fall. Flash would be worthless, so he holds on to that good discipline on the trigger finger, but it's feats of strength to Logitech.
And this game was going so badly at the start of them. They died with their Mumu in the jungle earlier on. Doesn't have a good CS lead, but with that one ward towards the top side, 3 kills have gone over towards them. And this early game horror show has actually turned into a pretty decent spot for them, as with this gold lead being only 100 towards their side, but at least it isn't 400 gold down like it was before.
Yeah, completely reasonable. You got the first parts of the feats that, granted, won't be winning you a game anytime soon, but they're still nice to have. And to keep him out of the other side. Up in the top lane, Drankazi's he's pretty much having as miserable time as you expected, but it's not the end of the world. He's still a Shen, he's still got util as Plato Dig has wrapped around behind Weeb, level 5, waiting for Drankazi's ultimate as he has that Stand United barrier to negate the rest of this Ignite. Plato Dig gonna be marching on in. Comet Spear taking him down to 200 HP. The Shaco Weeb electing not to flash forwards, wisely not chasing the clown into the wild blue yonders. Annihilation dive bleeding forward. Septimus Soul getting a cleanse out of this AD carry, and Q Comet Spear. Plato Dig down. Here comes Emmett throwing out that unempowered ultimate, taunted over the wall. Septimus Soul waiting for a stun of his own as here comes the Aesol. Dr. House charging. Boomerang Blade gets the snipe on out. Logitech's bot lane are fighting their way. It's a party in the bot. Weeb doesn't have the damage Annihilation. Boomerang Blade does though. Max range getting the turnaround. Waiting on that Skarner flash forwards. He doesn't even need the boulder. He just clobbers them over the head with it. It's 5 to 6 in 7 minutes. Zath, where do we even stand after the dust settles?
Well, with everything, there's only 100 gold difference like beforehand. It was looking so good for the Alumni at the start of the game. They did everything perfectly, but then afterwards, that Shen TP really saved that play. With him coming in, they picked themselves up another triple kill and even a dragon in towards their hand. So when we look at where these kills have actually gone, Logitech are much happier with it, as if they went over towards the jungle of Dr. House. Meanwhile, Weeb and the other main carrier, Panny, have both picked up a couple kills for themselves.
And if you're this Syndra, you now have yourself a takedown, you have yourself a CS lead, and you weren't even the one involved in the mess. So you were able to get yourselves isolated leads and feeling all the more comfortable as a result.
Even has themselves over a 10 CS lead. Down towards the bot lane, Siv's almost finished that young Tao. Siv's one of those champions that needs to get 3 items before you really truly feel online. So getting accelerated like this is going to be helping out a lot as Panny.
2v1 lane and already used the scatter, waiting for the Pantheon re-engage, going forwards despite this cleanse. Bandage Toss just sort. Annihilation's waiting for one more dash angle. Q connecting from the Syndra. They're going to play max range. Melee champion can't close the gap, and we will close the book on this fight. Annihilation down for the 3rd time this game.
Yeah, we picking up another kill, maybe stealing it a bit at the end there, but once you're a Sivir, you're never going to complain giving the kills over towards that. And it was another great play from Panny. He's been roaming around the map, supporting his team as much as possible. And yes, he will lose himself one wave and one tower plate towards the mid lane, but that still very much is worth for him, as those Void Grubs will be started up by Dr. House.
And this Maximus does not realize he doesn't have his W toggled, so he's losing this fight quite hard. Twin Shift, Poison, Shaco Box, Madness, Maximus falling in the river to the clown.
Now, everyone does it. Everybody forgets if they have their W up or not on that champion. Very funny to see that in the end. But Dr. House going to be able to pick up those Void Grubs without any contestation because of Madness Maximus not having that W available. We'll try and steal away the red buff as well, as the major gold lead for the Alumni is towards this jungle, having 43 CS to 74. They've done such a fantastic job of trying to take him out.
No, a Moo jungle support is going to be linking up, throwing out the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Has a flash if he wants to get over the Blast Cone, but Ixtal Assault. Dr. House on a killing spree, and this is Battle Skarner. Ain't no Heartsteel here. This is going to be Triforce Skarner.
And that's everything you want to see, as Shaco went towards the mid lane, made a gank, went towards the enemy jungle, made a gank and even a kill, and now towards the top lane, just trying to cause as much mayhem as possible. Towards bot lane, Annihilation.
Annihilation in a sticky situation, throwing out that Sivir ult for the move speed, only getting about a third of the HP. Ult for ult trade, not the end of the world for the bot lane. Annihilation's happy with that one.
As Shaco not going to get taken out there. As Syndra doesn't have that first side completed, the damage just isn't there to try and kill him. But towards the bot lane, it's majorly in favor of the side of Logitech. Annihilation, if he had that ult available, could have stayed under this tower, but he doesn't have it, so he will not be able to do it.
And Ultimate trying to find himself an angle on in, throwing out the Skies Descend as Drankazi's able to get his mid laner to a safe distance. Dr. House, however, going to chase him back under structure. Shen lives, spends the ultimate to do it, but everyone makes it out.
Yeah, but I spent so much for
Dive possible. Septimus Soul's going to be kicking this one off. Point and click stun. Tower shots heating. Juggled beautifully. Dumping the aggro. The barrier for Flare. Logitech's bot lane. Clean on the dive.
And they're going to be able to get themselves this bot lane tower for it. Everyone on Alumni tried to make that play towards the top side, and because that didn't work out, they expended so much. Logitech get quite a bit off the back of that 400 gold lead.
Shaco diving one man, throwing out that ultimate tower shot. Goes Play-Doh dig. No, his clone can't take it for him. It's clown down in the mid lane.
Yeah, they're clowning out in the mid lane, and it's not coming up heads for him. This towards the mid lane, Panny picking up another kill, and I don't understand why people have not been banning this champion. Every single time we're on this cast, we keep telling people, don't let this Syndra through.
There's a reason why with the custom games, he doesn't touch it.
Ban.
It's just absolutely forbidden. Alumni Guild willing to leave it up, and they are... the phrase reap what you sow simply comes to mind.
Now, there were two champions, not just that one that we ban in custom games. One of them being the Amumu, and the other is that
Septimus. Oh, okay, Earthshaker. Okay, they didn't end up going for the taunt flash. I thought that would be that to catch Earthshaker. Final hour and flash and Ghost all spent as he's looking to turn it around. Play-Doh dig, just queuing forwards for a little bit more damage. Drankazi flashing away. That is Shaco's psychological damage being put into play here in the top lane.
Yeah, definitely a psychic level move as Panny.
And 2v1 flashing forwards, trying to get the damage on Annihilation, but no trade kill. Ignite ticking, power shot. It's a bloodbath in the top lane as only the two tops remain. More members join, more members fall. We're at 19 kills in 12 minutes.
Yeah, but dying towards the bot lane here is going to have a lot of consequences. Two tower plays going over, even has that shutdown as well. So Mumu trying to hold this.
Curse of the Sad Mummy already spent. He's got that W ticking now, but here comes Asol. Emmett picks it up, no sweat. He gets the guts of the wave, does Maximus, and does some damage mitigation, but...
And this game is just so close with how these teams are playing. 10 kills apiece, only 1,000 gold leave on the side of Alumni, and that's mostly because of the CS's Weave.
Weave's Spell Shield is going to absorb not the ultimate, but the E. Great timing from the Asol, waiting for the bounce and not ricocheting once more. Emmett with 100 HP. Not even close, maybe.
Yeah, one auto attack off was going to be able to win that out. Septimus, so maybe the target here.
Just short, jumping back in. Scout of the week is going to be flashed by Dr. House. Triforce getting a 2-man ultimate. Scorpion has a shield to negate the damage and lives through the river. Nice movement from Dr. House.
Yeah, Panny, if he walked slightly forward, would have been able to pick up that kill, but so scared of this Shaco with what he's done this game. Gonna back off instead. But with Skarner super chunked out, there's a big possibility for Logitech to start this dragon and even take it in the amount of time he gets himself back into this. So Madness Maximus will be starting this up.
Is indeed, and Skarner's on the other side of the map. Plato Dig looking for an execute.
Not
Jack in the
again.
Box ticking. It is going to be knocked out by the Amumu passive, though. Here comes Stand United. You know which one it is thanks to that Mumu passive. First touch brings death to Plato Dig, and the Shaco can't find the steal. Wait for the steady hands here. Okay.
Oh.
Black Hole was a little bit nerve-wracking, but Maximus, smite is true.
Yeah, even I was getting scared there. Zevit may have just overstepped.
Level 10 to level 6 is able to just walk it out so far, and will be able to continue to do so.
I think what he did was pressing his W on towards the Aurelion Solar when he went in towards the bush. His character just actually stopped walking. Otherwise, he was able to pick up that kill. Even though Dragon does go over for the second one to Logitech, they will lose that top lane tower. They'll also lose a minion wave towards that mid lane. So this gold lead has actually got up a little bit higher now to around about 2.5k.
Kazi and Dr. House on a collision course. Taunt lands, trying to find the rest of the Q damage. Here comes Syndra, shutting down the Skarner. He's got damage, but not the resilience you'd expect. It's Plato Dig and Septimus Soul gonna engage in a bit of supportal combat. Here comes Aurelion Soul to turn the tides. No fair fights to be had here. Is flashing forwards. Weeb has the damage, picks up one, queuing away Plato Dig, trying to find a sidestep on this Q, but nope. Throws out a Jack in the Box and walks back in. Steps in. No! The delayed Q from Weeb sniping out Plato.
Man, Weeb Siva is actually really impressing me. He's usually playing more that Yon Yasuo. I'm still waiting for that to be in the 80k position. But his Siva, every single time, has been able to get a decent CS lead.
Walking forwards, barrier spent. He has no spell shield either, as here comes the Conqueror stacking Septimus Soul here to bail out his marksman. Stepping too far forwards. Weeb take a bow. The acting was magnificent.
Yeah, baiting to perfection as there's another play towards the mid lane.
And this Maximus is not going to find his Q here. Bandage toss just a bit outside his Earthshaker turning around with the final hour. Silver bolts to do it as here comes the mid laner. Pandy forced to flash away. Earthshaker continues to give chase. Remember, passive move speed when you're giving chase. One more auto tap Q. Aurelion Soul gets it done. Both carries online for the Alumni.
Yeah, it does get the flash and, of course, that teleport. It's now one person now in danger.
Septimus Soul is a long way from home, but the Skarner is going to still have to march his way on up. Here comes the assault, slammed into the wall, and no reinforcements this time. Pantheon hit in the fountain.
And we can start seeing how the Alumni want to try and play these fights. Make it as messy as possible. Use the amount of damage you have from the Aurelion Soul and the Vayne together. You should be winning out on these fights at that 2-item mark. What they need to do on the side of Logitech is slow the game down a little bit, wait towards 3 items on your major carries, then they should be able to wipe these fights.
Their house is going to get the impale onto the marksman. Weeb assassinated the Skarner. Looping him on in. Here's Maximus slammed to the wall himself. Both bot laners fall. You only get a Shaco clone on the other side. Shen falls right next to him. 3 in quick succession. Alumni Guild wrecking a mid-fight.
And while this is all happening, Nyla towards the top lane getting a 700 gold tower for themselves. And Dr. House, going for more of a damaging build, has really worked out. Helped his team that does lack a bit of damage in the early game to get over that threshold and now have themselves a significant lead, as there will be 6,000 in the pocket.
Annihilation on the flank. Panty is going to get a knock away thanks to that E, and no clip to be had. Mila ultimate apotheosis simply stuffed.
Oh, he used the flash, he used the cleanse. It was so close to working out, but Panny with Scatter of the Week makes it so hard for Nyla to try and play the game against him, as Shaco gets it again, just dealing so much damage.
Trying to bait, tanking of tower shots, though. He's going to jump on in. Emmett bites off more than he can chew, and all he ends up eating is a spear to the face. Pantheon getting that one.
And both of these teams just constantly fighting as much as possible. Alumni being on the front foot, overextended, then Logitech winning out, and then they overextend. This game is so close, and either one can take it. Logitech with 2 dragons in the pocket, have the next one spawn in 50 seconds. It could put them on sole point. And the big thing with the Alumni squad is they want to try and burst people out. So if they get themselves that Mountain Soul, there's a big possibility that they will be able to win out in these fights.
With Shaker with some nice movement is able to slip away from the taunt. Dr. House front lining 2-man impale. Here comes the AoE from the Neela. The execute held in place and knocked down as Maximin's going to force a Q out of Earthshaker. Neela getting a pair of kills right before Drake is perfectly timed.
Yeah, especially when it is that double carry. 20 seconds for either of them will be alive. 10 seconds towards the dragon. If I'm doing my maths correctly, this dragon should be all but Alumni's if Logitech don't want to contest it. As yet again, Annihilation finding so much on this side lane. 700 gold in top, 450 in the mid lane as well. It's becoming pretty rich.
Unfortunately, Maximus is not even allowed to touch his Gromp at this point, as the Aurelian Soul, who got him early, finds him once again. Ultimate is going to be taunted away from, but still connects, forcing a flash and killed all the same. Emmett able to get a pair in quick succession himself. Here comes the power unleashed, and he falls immediately. Weeb's throwing out that spell shield, but you can't clear death. Killing spree is going to be gone for this AD carry. Septimus Soul absorbing that Shiv. Here comes a Jack in the Box feared. Dr. House will find the CC. Movement is not permitted. Jungle support linking up, and everyone on Logitech's bot side of the map falling.
And this Shaker has just made this game an absolute mess. Everything Alumni wanted, this support champion is working out. And you can see Logitech, they have the damage with the Sever. 2.5 items, 2 items very close to being completed for Banning. The only problem is they only have enough to really burst out one member. And if you, let's say, go for the Vayne, neither's been on the side lane farming up, gonna have 2 items in a second. You already have that Ace Soul online. Even Dr. House as one of these tanky champions, it was a lot.
Bandage toss is going to be eaten by another Impale. Annihilation is linking up with Dr. House for the second time in a row as Maximus falls. Drankazi's already used his taunt. He doesn't have that get out of jail free card for a moment. Annihilation goes on the killing spree, and look at the line of boxes. This is so obnoxious from this Shaco champ.
I would like to say officially that the blue side for Logitech is off, and they're not allowed to ever go back in there, as Dr. House did a bit of bullying towards his top lane, trying to look on towards Panny.
Nice piece of movement. Is going to be able to simply sidestep the spells from one another. Power Unleashed gets him down to a whopping half HP, but Weave is here for the mop, a bucket in hand, shutting down the Skarner.
Now, I'm not used to Weeb or any Sivir dealing that amount of damage towards Skarner without LDR, but of course, going for more of that damage build than the armored tank that we're used to, is going to be able to get taken out pretty quickly. And there's still possibilities for Logitech. Yes, they've lost one of these dragons. They still have plenty lockdown CC. Amumu, very close to that level 11 ultimate. Pantheon, of course, with that W, has that lockdown CC. They just need one super clean team fight from them. Pick up maybe one of these major objectives afterwards. They're very much back into this game.
Shaker is going to be receiving a couple of stuns himself as Septimus Soul jumped on down to 2/3. Plater Dig gives chase. And once again, the corridor of boxes are being set up in front of our very eyes.
And it's just so sad. Like, this Amumu has not been able to play the game. He's been invaded level 1, been invaded level 3, and been invaded for the rest of the game. Trying his best to get himself back in. Trying his best as well not to get Flame Horizon as Earthshaker.
Oh, Earthshaker Q's just a moment late in the taunt lanes. Drankazi, however, doesn't have any more tools. Scatters short. Earthshaker's Ghost is able to evade any further engagements. Later Dig just going to continue to harass, but somehow Vayne living that is wild to me.
Yeah, but you get yourself out to safety, but you don't actually want to have a play happen like that. You want that Ghost to try and make a play, look for those outplays on towards the enemy instead for safety. Does mean for the next 3 minutes, that ability is going to be up and available. No flash as well. Maybe one flash Shen Taunt, even the normal Taunt can get the job done. As yet again, they keep trying to go through this way, and it's just not possible.
However, Annihilation might have the possibility of life cut desperately short as Dr. House is eating a whole host of damage on the other side. Spell Shield exhausting on the other side. Weave trying to find some ground to stand on. Q channeling. Ace Soul is the turret mode right now, but here comes the Shen. He's got the reinforcements. Waiting for another Spell Shield. Weave picks him up. that cooldown just in a moment. Gromp looking for the assist here, giving chase onto the Skarner, who simply jets through wall. Dr. House able to escape, but Weeb finding himself a pair of kills and that all-important breakpoint.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. When you get to 3 items on this champion, you feel so good in these team fights. You don't just deal damage to one member, you deal damage to a lot of them. Pair that up with the Amumu AoE CC, you can just absolutely shred these team fights. Now they're online, Logitech could start looking for these team fights. With many members dead, there was a chance for the Atakan. Instead, trying to farm up as much as possible. Basically, no one except his Fate does scale as well in the Sivir in the game.
Maybe not, but even so, remember, damage is only as useful as it is applied, and Earthshaker does still have to contend with all of the things that we were talking about earlier. So, might actually be a raw DPS check, sure, Vayne's got that all day long, but who's able to get their damage off? I might actually contend Weeb has a better shot.
Exactly, and I just want to quickly take a note towards the bot side for Logitech. Their ward placement is just showing how much they truly hate the Shaco. They've seen boxes there for days, they don't want to have any more.
Speaking of hating Shaco, that is death number 8 for the support for the guild. As we might have ourselves yet another en route Maximus. He's simply trying to get an camp. This man cannot play the video game, but here comes the collapse. Dr. House has got 2 members behind him, so he likes to just fall on flash forwards. Panny kiting this one out. Sterex gauge popped. Tower shot taken. Killing spree to this marksman. Here comes Annihilation. Ultimate just a moment late, though, as they continue to give chase. Aesol must stand still. Grin and Barrett. Triple kill to the marksman. The Weeb is running straight towards the Baron.
Yeah, there's pings going out, but instead thinking about what is the safer bet. Going to be able to pick up that dragon, maybe get themselves the Atakan afterwards. And we talked about it. Once Sivir's in these team fights, with the amount of help she has with her team comp, she's just going to take over. Compared to the Vayne, which has done a very good job of killing minions, but hasn't actually been able to support the team and be in these fights.
Dig, please just jump in there and throw a box. It would really warm my heart for a Shay could just be a complete gremlin. But instead, credit to Septimus. He's able to body block that one appropriately and not give him anything to work with.
I do love how, even though he's not playing jungle, you always have that tendency of wanting people to smite still.
Dive in there, smite, steal it. You can steal it with Janet Tornado with the right attitude. It's Plato Dig trying to get onto Weeb here. Ignite ticking. He's got some burst, but he might be running out of damage. Shaco box is going to be yanked away thanks to Panny's assist. Blue buff still not grabbed. Earthshaker going to find a 2v1 potential. Septimus Soul knocked out. The build online as here comes the Steadfast Presence. Madness Maximus going to be burnt down. They go in one at a time. Divide and conquer. Annihilation's got the damage. Panny falls as well. 4 in a row, one after another. You got the Shaco, but you lost the farm.
Yeah, but take a look. 30 seconds until major people are up. We need to clear this wave and stay safe. Otherwise, this game's over.
Spell shield already spent, slammed to the wall. Dr. House has a huge amount of burst trying to find the barrier, but ace complete. It's 10 seconds on Maximus, 6 seconds on Pantheon. They'll be here to reinforce and stop the game end, but that is base cracked in the meantime as Annihilation. Oy, second tower shot just a moment away.
We're just having a bit of fun seeing what he's able to do, as they will be able to defend the base like you mentioned, but this top side, that top lane tower is very much going to get taken out. Actually, Emmett going to get warded off by Septimus Soul. You see him walking around trying his best to finish it off and will be able to do so. And this team fight that was going so well for Logitech went in the way of Alumni because they went for a fight after they got themselves a dragon. We saw that Weeb went for that reset, wasn't part of it, and he is that major damage source. If he's in the fight, Logitech win. If he's not in the fight, there's no way in hell they're able to have enough damage.
Ultimate Soul and Plato Dig are going to be playing a little bit of ring around the rosy. Aesol throwing out the ultimate, sliding over the wall, tanking up for just a moment with that Aegis Assault, trying to get a trade kill on the other side, but no, Emmett's able to sneak on out of there, closer than he would have liked. Well, Pantheon falls all the same.
I really felt that one, how close it was to going for that outplay. Now, Sivir, 3 items is good, 4 items is amazing, and that is what's been achieved by Weeb. Dragon has been started up, no Vayne for that damage, but Nyla does quite a lot in this early game.
And they have no idea. The Shaco is providing so much displacement, they can't walk through without fear of the Shaco box, no pun intended. And as a result, smiting this down, no biggie. Blue team picking up Baron Nashor, Alumni Guild wearing purple, Earthshaker on the other side, solos Atacon. Off screen, but not unseen. Atacon collected, as we have an Amumu, who will be standing for about that long.
Rest in peace, Maximus. We did want to see you go like that. 3 members going straight on top of him, going to be able to pick up that kill. And even though Vayne hasn't been in these team fights helping out with the actual damage, has been doing a lot on this side lane, farming up an absolute storm, 256 CS, been able to take many of these outer towers, and with this Baron in hand, big opportunity to not just get one inhibitor, but crack open all 3.
And he's already used his E, waiting for that cooldown to come back up. Annihilation gonna be jumping in, finding the AoE. First kill going to the marksman. Neelag picks up a second. Weeb is gonna be throwing out an ultimate of his own, knocking down the Shaco clone. Only it is going to be a 2v5 defense, but so far they're holding their inhibit back.
Yeah, Mumu up and available here.
Scatter, forcing a cleanse. Here comes Plater damage. Ignite, ticking, burning down. He's got dots on dots on dots. The potion doesn't do it. Killing spree for this support player as Weeb's gonna be killed. Bluetooth auto attack. The whip finds him from across the screen. And with the Weeb down, Sivir fallen. That's gonna do it in this one. 69 kills and a nice finish to the game in 29 minutes.
I can't believe you made that joke.
They're gonna ruin my punchline. Make it 70, no fun allowed, 29 minutes.
Not even getting themselves up towards 71 with how that game finished out. But an interesting one to say the least. We were correct with our predictions at the start that Alumni would be winning out, but it's a lot closer than what I was expecting. Alumni doing a very good job of getting those early game leads, especially with the Shaco bullying out the jungle of the Amumu, but especially with this Vayne on the side lane, actually 1v1 in the Atacon the longer the game went. Only if the Logitech side played these team fights a little bit more concise, had that big Amumu ultimate, this game could have been completely different.
It absolutely could. It was unfortunately very frequently a 4v5 as the Amumu was not allowed to either A, fight, B, farm, or C, really just kind of exist on Summoner's Rift outside of his base. It was a tough time for the mummy out there.
100%. Especially when I play someone like Bard who does like to invade. There's a reason why I don't let myself play Shaco, because I'll be doing that exactly towards my enemies. And that is no fun, either for the enemy or anyone on this team, because you're going to be having a great time. Your team's going to ask where their support is, as he was roaming around doing his thing. So, finishing this off, Alumni picking themselves up. I would say a convincing win if we were 5 minutes into the game, but by the end, it was really close.
Yeah, and then shout outs to the rest of this. The defense that was mounted. Sure, there was tough times to be had, but they were able to find, Panny, Weebs, carries. When they were able to find some organization, credit to the Pantheon for setting up his carries for success. The game was absolutely messy, as was the win con for the blue team. They played their game, and they played their game better. What can you say? The guild were able to get it done.
Yeah, 100%. Very close game between both of them. Fortunately, Office Showdown is going to be back next week. Going to have a very, hopefully, competitive games.
I can imagine. If not, I can promise entertaining games. Were you not entertained by the Shaco shenanigans the entire game? Just, if at doubt, pan to Shaco and see what he's up to.
I'm more disappointed because in my head, I remember the blue side where they had that small little sliver with 3 Shaco boxes where, let's say you get past 1 Shaco box, you're like, okay, there clearly won't be another one. Then there's another Shaco box. You're like, okay, I see what you're doing here. You've done 2. There's definitely going to be a third, right? You go forward and you get 3rd Shaco box. At that point, you're either dead, crying, or actually just F4'd league.
The most important CC that you can apply is not on the champion, but on the player. That's Shaco CC. CC's the player, not the champion. But as you said, unfortunately, this is best of 1, and there is no second game for this stream. So that's going to do it for us. I had a great time, Zath. How are we feeling about this one?
Yeah, feeling good. Both teams did a lot better than what I was expecting. Some decent quality plays, especially coming out from Dr. House, going for a more unconventional build, but did actually help out his team to find that early game lead. So hopefully we get a bit more cooking. I want more Shakos. I want more interesting Skarners, the Vayne tops, maybe. Well, I mean, the Nile ADC was good, but I want to see some AP carries towards the bot lane and make those ADCs cry.
Absolutely. Making ADCs cry, the big takeaway for today. A message we can all get behind. But in the meantime, I have been Sandbag. This has been Zapdos. Kovac making it happen behind the scenes. Thank you all for joining. Same time, same place, Tuesdays, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your evening. See ya.